Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Sparrow, and this is my experience doing advocacy work outside of the class. Getting started, I was lost for a few weeks there. I was looking everywhere using Google and all these search engines and these so-called volunteer sites, and was having a hard time finding anything. Although a couple weeks later, I got help actually from family that they helped me find the Mavs in action. I'll get into that more later. Um, and I've been with that group ever since. Although I admit that when I first started, and still a little bit now, I felt a bit of a feeling of uneasiness. All right, so the main group that I worked with this semester is called Mavs in Action, or Mavericks in Action, I should say, or MIA. It is a MSU organization run mostly by students. We work on a lot of little stuff like cards for kids, where we make joke cards and such for kids in hospitals, to try to make them feel better, and making mittens for, I believe it was the homeless. But they also work with other organizations like house building organizations, can't think of the name right now, and running stuff like the free farmers market. Speaking of the free farmers market, I was part of the setup crew and running it. For setting up, it was pretty simple, just unboxing food and putting it on a table, and a lot of telling people to come back later because they're quite antsy. And then running it, I actually got to be able to be to do tabling. Um, I mainly just sat at a table talking to people and taking tallies of not just how many people were coming, but how many people were coming, heard about it from different sources. So like a lot of people got the text or emails. A lot of people actually heard about it from their coaches, which I find a little funny. Um, and just a few other sources, and it was quite a windy day, so that's why I put the dealing with wind down there. My takeaway for working with MIA and doing stuff like the free farmers market is it just really helped me get more comfortable working with others and getting used to doing some volunteer work. And as stated before, I got to do some tabling, so that's awesome. All right, another thing that I did was work at the Echo Food Shelf. While working there, I put together grocery carts for the clients or customers, whatever you want to call them, and I got things ready for just so they can come and pick it up. I also talked to them anytime they needed help or anything, and I did a little bit of stocking in the back, but that was very little, and they really liked to just have me take home stuff because like they're just getting rid of like bread and such, and that was out of date, and they just were giving it to volunteers. Now, here's the takeaway and why I see this as still as advocacy. It helps people to survive so they don't starve or have to spend their complete paycheck on food. It helps. It also, for me, helped me realize how people can be struggling, and kind of felt like it gave me more drive to do more. And just knowing that you're keeping people from starving is, well, a good feeling. All right. Another thing I did was, well, actually go to protests. I first went to the Teachers March up in the cities. I drove to the cities, and when I got there, I truthfully, for the first half hour, so I just kind of walked around kind of aimlessly. But once I found a poster, I actually like felt like I was actually part of the group there, and like just kind of like waved it around and such. Then um, they had a little stage that was basically just the back of the truck with speakers on it and speakers there talking about trying to get done what the protest is trying to get done. So I did a little bit of chanting and such and cheering them on. For context, what the Teachers March was about was a bunch of teachers in the city's area trying to get a higher paycheck and actually an actual living wage and more resources for them and the students they work with for a better, just a better life. Um, Another protest I did was, well, the one that we prepared for in class here. Um, uh, it's the one led by the international students to talk about the stuff on in Ukraine and other injustices around the world. Um, for my part, I just kind of followed the crowd admittedly and held the megaphone. Um, uh, Probably not using it as much as I probably could, but frankly, I didn't really know how to use it. The takeaway for all these is more than any of the other stuff that I did. I This made me feel like these that advocacy it isn't only a thing that I want to do, that the issues that people um uh, other people want to be part of it and help with. It of course helped energize me to do more and made me feel a little more confident in what I was doing. All right, so another thing I did, well, I am part of the newsletter for the ARC. The ARC is a um, advocacy group for disabled people. And one thing that they're working on more recently is to stop the fact that as a disabled person, I get benefits from the state with healthcare and monthly disability payments. But if I were to get married, I would lose everything. Even though if I marry like the poorest person on earth. And what the ARC is trying to do now is trying to fight against that, to change the policy on that so that people won't lose the benefits if they just get married. And to help that, I wrote a letter to Congress. It wasn't exactly to an exact congressperson, but it was through them to try to get out a bunch of letters to Congress to try to get out the word. I also spread it through a few of my social media places as well as I could. I'm not very good at doing social media. The takeaway here is, well, for one, it's very important to me as a disabled person, um, because I don't want to lose rights because I get married or just the fact that I am disabled. I know I've had a lot of issues in the past with losing insurance and um, uh, people not really sure how to classify me as how disabled I am. Um, it also made me feel like I can actually use my story to help people, not just myself, but like other disabled people. I can just tell my story and use it to as an advocacy tool to fight for others. And I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to my own rights, I feel a little more comfortable fighting for them, and um, uh, doing it more makes me feel more comfortable with myself as a person with my disability. So my overall experience was a good one. I felt uneasy, probably more than I maybe should have needed to, but overall, I think that with all the stuff that I did, it made me feel a lot more confident, and assured in myself and my abilities. Um, Obviously, it helped me get my foot in the door of advocacy. I hope you like that little picture of the open door there. And you know what? You know what? If anything else, it helped me get out of the house because I know I spend way too much at home. And overall, I think this was a great experience. I'm very glad that I did what I did, and I'm very glad that I was part of this class. To continue, I just want to say, as a side note, this kind of made me think of when I was writing the letter to the Congress. Is Everyone should watch Crip Camp if you haven't. It's a Netflix documentary, but they put it up on YouTube. It's a great movie on advocacy and the disabled world. And watching it just made me feel so proud to be disabled. So I just feel like other people should go and watch it. Here are some of my references, some more of my references, and that's it. Thank you very much.